Just want to talk about these main power and ground circuits here real quick while I'm doing a clutch master on my car here. So battery sits here, pretty obvious. We have a power wire. One of these wires runs down to the starter. The other one runs in here to the fuse box. So this is your PDC, power distribution center, whatever. Every manufacturer has their own term for it. So we got, all the main stuff here. Fan, alternator actually runs down through this harness over and then to the alternator there as well. So that's just basic stuff, power, harness, fuse, battery. That's it. Now, the reason they do this way is because the battery in its normal operation is only to start the car and as a voltage smoother, sort of like a capacitor. So when the vehicle's running, the power coming from the alternator is actually what runs everything, unless there's an overload such as lights, fan, blower, wipers. All the extra stuff is on. Then sometimes it'll pull extra power from the battery, but that's it. So that's why that runs into there and not just directly to the battery. So as far as the grounding goes, this has been modified by me. So in the factory configuration, there will be a terminal here. This runs up to this lug right here. That's the body ground. It runs down through the harness down here into this bracket. Now this bracket also contains the clutch line if you have a manual. Now the automatics, I don't have one of those here to look at, but it's pretty much the same. So if you're having hard starting, poor charging, situations like that, that ground down there is the most common location because it's literally just bolted onto a bracket. So what I did here was I added an extra ground to the body here, and then another one running down to the we're not gonna be able to see it, but down there where the bell housing bolt is, right down there, there's a supplementary ground. Since power actually flows from negative to positive, not positive to negative, the ground is the most important thing. Basically how this works is the ground to the body and the engine becomes think of it like a plane, right? And then the difference between voltage, the 12-volt difference, has to do with how badly the negatively charged electrons want to give off that power into the positive. So it's quite opposite of what everybody is taught. It's actually the backwards. So that's one of the reasons why when you see cars with amps in the trunk, you'll see a lot of corrosion around the terminals, because it actually charges the terminal. Not like charges, but it creates a magnetic charge on the terminal, and that's what absorbs all that hydrogen that gets off gas from the battery. So anytime you do anything that pulls off of the electrical system, you have to add ground to it as well. So the other thing here is this little box. This, I'm not sure exactly all that's connected to this, but PCM ground and sensor grounds are connected to this as well. And then here we have the octane adjust plug. That's a different story. The only other thing up here is the OBD diagnostic port. There's some cool stuff we can do here with this, but that's for a separate video. So yeah, just grounds. Now this is just some tiny little itty bitty wire here. So any little bit you can do to help take the load off the system by adding a ground, I mean, that's all you got to do. Just add a ground. That helps immensely.